Could Bayley's shocking return to WWE television actually be the spark that causes a top babyface to turn heel and shake up the entire women's division in the process? Well, it's looking more likely with each passing week. Bayley is officially back on Monday Night Raw after being off TV for a few months, and she returned with authority. No subtle hints, no cryptic promos, just a vicious, statement-making attack on none other than her longtime frenemy, Becky Lynch. The timing? Flawless. The delivery? Brutal. And the result? WWE may have just reignited one of the most emotionally and historically significant rivalries in women's wrestling. But here's what you're missing. Everyone's eyes are on Becky and Bayley. Everyone assumes we're getting a simple hero versus villain storyline to fill time until Evolution 2 or the next major PLE. But WWE rarely tells just one story anymore, and I don't think Bayley returns simply to have another title feud. This might not be about Bayley winning the championship at all. This could be about something bigger. Something that sets in motion a new chapter for a star who's been missing from television ever since she lost her championship, Lyra Varia. To understand where we're going, we need to look back. At Wrestlemania, Bayley was supposed to team with Lyra Varia, then Women's Intercontinental Champion, to take on Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez for the women's tag team titles. But on WrestleMania Saturday, Bayley was attacked backstage, leaving Lyra without a partner. Enter Becky Lynch. In a last-minute change, Becky returned and filled Bayley's spot. The new duo of Becky and Lyra went on to win the women's tag team championships at WrestleMania. But it didn't last long. The very next night on Raw, they dropped the titles, and Becky Lynch, in one of the most unexpected turns of the year, attacked Lyra post-match, turning heel. This moment was brushed aside by some, seen as a temporary reaction from Becky. But WWE doesn't waste heel turns. That attack signaled a shift. And when Becky won the Women's Intercontinental Championship soon after, it became clear she was stepping into a dominant, anti-hero role, one she hasn't embraced in quite some time. Now we have Bayley back, furious, focused, and going after the woman who not only took her spot at WrestleMania but who has quietly become the center of the women's division again. Becky Lynch versus Bayley. On paper, it's everything we want: history, emotion, intensity. But there's a problem. Becky's not losing the championship anytime soon. She's white hot, and WWE isn't ready to take that title off her. So where does that leave Bayley? How do you protect her from looking weak? How do you maintain her credibility while still pushing Becky forward? You create chaos. And chaos, in this case, looks a lot like a returning Lyra Varia, not as a babyface, but as a heel. Think about it. Since losing her title, Lyra has been off TV completely. That's not an oversight. WWE is clearly planning something with her. You don't debut someone like Lyra, give her a WrestleMania moment with Becky Lynch, hand her the IC title, and then just forget about her. She's being repackaged, likely to return as a dangerous, emotionally scarred version of herself. And what better way to reintroduce her than by having her cost Bayley the match against Becky? It's poetic, it's brutal, and it sets the table for a brand new story. Picture this: the match is intense, hard-hitting, emotionally charged. Bayley finally has Becky on the ropes. The crowd is divided, the momentum shifting. Then Lyra returns, but not to save Becky or balance the odds. She snaps. Maybe she attacks both women, maybe just Bayley, but the message is clear. She's not here to play fair anymore. And just like that, everything changes. Becky retains the title. Bayley doesn't suffer a clean loss. Lyra is back, and she's unrecognizable. This move accomplishes three things instantly. First, it cements Becky Lynch's status as a fighting champion with a legitimate feud and a target on her back. Second, it launches Lyra Varia into her most compelling run yet. And third, it sets up the post-title feud, Bayley versus Lyra. A fresh, heated rivalry that writes itself. Let's not forget, this version of Lyra isn't the underdog anymore. This is a woman who's been burned, replaced, forgotten. She helped Becky win gold, and in return, she got attacked and pushed off TV. Her redemption arc won't come from hugs and handshakes. It'll come from vengeance. This is WWE's way of creating new stars the right way. You don't just give them a belt, you make them matter. You give them character development, emotional investment, a transformation. Lyra's heel turn wouldn't just be a shock, it would be earned. The best part? She's more than ready. Lyra has always had an aura about her, from her presence to her promo work to her in-ring skill. But fans haven't fully connected yet. She's hovered in that rising star space, never quite reaching the next level. Turning heel changes that. It gives her an identity. It gives fans a reason to care, even if they're booing. And WWE needs that. The women's roster is stacked with talent, but the heel side is thin. Rhea Ripley is out. Damage Control is fractured. Nia Jax is around, but not consistently over. There's room for a new top-tier villain, and Lyra could fill that void perfectly. Let's zoom out even further. Think about the legacy of the Four Horsewomen: Becky, Bayley, Charlotte, and Sasha. These women redefined what it meant to be a female wrestler in WWE. They went from throwaway segments to main events. They broke barriers, carried divisions, and made the women's revolution a permanent reality. Now, we're entering a new era, and the key to that era isn't just rehashing old feuds. It's about building the next Becky, the next Bayley, the next Sasha. Lyra Varia is a candidate for that role, but to get there, she needs edge. She needs to break the rules. She needs to get fans talking even if they hate her. Becky and Bayley don't need the title to stay relevant. They are mainstays. They elevate everything they touch. That's why this storyline is so powerful, because it's not just about the belt. It's about legacy, betrayal, and evolution. And when this all unfolds, Evolution 2 could end up being the most significant women's event WWE has held in years. Not just because of the matches, but because of what they represent. Becky versus Bayley is your emotional hook. Lyra's return is your shock factor. Lyra versus Bayley is your future. And Becky? She moves on, possibly to Jade Cargill, Rhea Ripley, or even in the ultimate dream match, Mercedes Moné. The possibilities are endless. But this feud? This triangle? This is the launch pad. Let's talk about character alignment for a second. Becky is playing the anti-hero, not quite a villain, but definitely not a traditional babyface anymore. Bayley is the emotional heart of this feud, a woman who was injured, overlooked, and replaced. And Lyra is the wild card, the one who feels used and discarded. That's a powerful triangle. It mirrors real-life emotions: betrayal, anger, redemption. These aren't just wrestling stories, they're human stories, and WWE knows that. That's why this angle has so much potential. If done right, it could define the women's division for the next 6 to 12 months. Now, let's be clear, Lyra doesn't need to dominate overnight, but she needs to make an impact. A shocking return, a vicious heel promo, a statement win over Bayley, one step at a time, and the audience will respond, because they'll finally have someone new to boo, and maybe secretly cheer for. By the end of all this, we could be looking at a brand new dynamic. Becky Lynch, still champion, still dominant. Bayley, the emotional veteran seeking redemption. And Lyra Varia, no longer the future, but the now. This is how you build stars. This is how you tell stories, not just with matches, but with meaning. And when Lyra walks down that ramp, dark-eyed and unapologetic, attacking the very women who made her relevant in the first place, the message will be loud and clear: she's done waiting, she's done trusting, she's here to take. And that's the turn no one saw coming.